Hey everybody, and welcome to a pedagogy in practice in which I'm going to go through some different strategies for implementing think, pair, shares in our teaching, whether we're teaching face-to-face, online asynchronous, or online synchronous. So let's dive in. So student and student interactions are really important and can help support student satisfaction, persistence, and learning in our courses. However, it can be a little bit difficult sometimes as instructors to imagine how we can integrate student-student interactions in our courses in meaningful ways. Think, Pair, Shares are a really great strategy for implementing student-student interactions in our courses. So in a Think, Pair, Share, students reflect on a concept. They have their time to work through something on their own. Then they have an opportunity to, in a pair or a small group, discuss their thoughts, what they came up with. And then at the end, we have the share. So that's when the whole group comes back together and the group or the pairs share what they worked through. As we're building Think, Pair, Shares, some general guidelines are and recommendations are to make sure that the concepts that students are working through are complicated. There may not be one perfect answer. There might be multiple answers. And we also want to think about, especially that share piece, how we can make sure that when everybody comes back together, students aren't just repeating what they said in their groups, but we're taking it a step further. We're thinking about how to apply this and how to really use that share opportunity, that whole class discussion, to really further the conversation about this concept or topic. So when we're thinking about how we can apply Think, Pair, Shares in our courses, I'm going to just give a quick tutorial about some strategies that we can use for implementing Think, Pair, Shares in online asynchronous courses, and then I'll dive into other versions of our teaching as well. All right, so let's talk about how we might use Think, Pair, Shares in online asynchronous courses. So one way we can do this is we can leverage a couple of different technologies to help us facilitate meaningful interactions for students across the Think, Pair, Share scenarios. So I'm going to go ahead and just hop over to Canvas in a moment and show how we can do quick checks to scaffold a think, how we can use Canvas groups to scaffold the discussion, and finally how we can embed a Padlet for everyone to come back together and share their work. So in Canvas modules, I just created the sample module where we can kind of see this in action a little bit. So let's say that I go to my Think page. I may not title it Think, but I can think about having a different page for each piece of this interaction to help guide students asynchronously. So in their module for week 1, they will have some activities, and their activity could start off with a think. And this might be where I provide the information to students about what they are going to be working through as a group. So maybe I have them listen to a podcast, and I can link to that podcast here or embed it. And then I'm also going to, of course, include guiding questions to help students really focus their attention as they're listening to the podcast. And now I have a quick check here, but I'm going to just show everybody really quickly how to add in a quick check. So let's say I want to add in my quick check. I will go to, first I'll delete this one because we don't need 2 quick checks. So I'll go to Design Tools, and just in this upper right-hand corner, and as it launches, I'm going to first double check that I've enabled the advanced element of quick checks. So I'm going to click on this gear icon in the upper right-hand corner, and I'm going to scroll down until I see advanced elements. So down here, under Add Advanced Elements, I'm going to make sure that Quick Check is toggled on. And once I've done that, then I can go to Add Advanced Elements, and I will see Quick Check here. And so under Quick Checks, I can add as block or add at cursor. I'm going to go ahead and add at cursor. And I'll type in my question here, and I'll want to make sure that I tailor the feedback so students are getting really robust, meaningful feedback based on their responses. And then I'm going to make sure that I click the check mark so that there is a correct answer selected. And I can tell that I've done that because this has turned green. So I just created my think page, and I'm going to click save. And now I'm going to go on to the pair stage. So this is where I'm going to do a discussion. Under pair, what I can do is I can select threaded replies. I can choose the different settings that I want. And then I'm going to say that this is a group discussion. And when I click this, this little box pops up, and I can choose to create groups later, or I can choose to create groups now. So I'm going to say allow self-sign-up, and then I'm also going to make sure that group members are in the same section. This is really important for FERPA if you have cross-listed students. And I'm going to say I want 5 groups, and I want group members to not be more than 5 members per group. And then I'm going to automatically assign a student leader if I want, and I'll click save. And so there's my group discussion. Oops, I have to title a name. I won't do that right now. All right, and finally, the share. So I'm going to go over to my share page. That's my calendar. So in my share page, I have a prompt saying, now share the big takeaways you have. And I'm going to go over to my Padlet, and I'm going to embed a Padlet. So I'll go to some of my recent Padlets, and let's say that I want to reflect on humanizing assessment, which I just used this Padlet today. So what I'll do here is once I've created my Padlet and I've titled it and created all this, I'm going to click share, and under here I'm going to get the embed code. So I click embed in your blog or website, and then I'll just click copy. And then over in my share page, I will click insert. So I'll put my cursor where I want it to go. I'll click insert, and then I can click embed. And I will paste and submit. So for those of you that have watched previous pedagogies and practices, this is a recap, but doesn't hurt to see how to embed it again. Anyway, so now it's embedded, so students will be able to contribute directly to the Padlet without having to leave my Canvas course. So that's a real quick overview of how we can think about integrating think, pair, shares in online asynchronous courses. And in future pedagogy and practices, I will do a deep dive into online synchronous and then also face-to-face. Thank you. Bye.